We're joined now by Robert Ford. Now, Ambassador Ford served as the U.S. ambassador to Syria when our embassy in Damascus was closed. That was back in 2012. So, boy, you must have been thinking a lot of thoughts as all of this has unfolded. Now that you've had a day or two to process it, what's the real implication? What's the headline from the United States now that Bashar al-Assad is gone in Syria?
I think the most immediate question for the United States is the 900 American troops that are in eastern Syria on a mission to chase and put down the remnants of ISIS in eastern Syria. ISIS doesn't control any territory in Syria, but there are still little groups running around with the occasional ambush. The Americans have worked a lot with one particular Syrian Kurdish faction, and Turkey strongly dislikes that faction and are coming after them.
Now, what about this actual group that took over the capital, the kind of main rebel group, political rights, that the U.S. is debating lifting the terror designation that's been on this rebel group led by Mohammed al-Golani, a U.S. designated terrorist organization? So should they make that change that is reportedly being considered? How do you view this group?
Well, I spearheaded the effort in the Obama administration to put that group on the foreign terrorist organization list. That was in December 2012. Fast forward to 2024. The group has evolved in many ways, and it is broken with al-Qaeda and ISIS. And it would be difficult now in 2024 to go back to those criteria and put this group on the terrorism list now. It would be hard to justify legally.
Do we know they've changed for real? Do we believe that they've really changed?
Well, there's a lot of evidence on the ground of what they've done in terms of changing. Most importantly, they fought al-Qaeda loyalists and they fought ISIS in northern Syria. And they make statements that are interesting, such as that they're willing to work with the international community to secure and dismantle chemical weapons sites. I cannot imagine Osama bin Laden or Ayman al-Zawahiri would ever have made an offer to the United Nations to work on chemical weapons together.
Now, as we watch this, we'll be watching a transition in power here in the United States. I referenced President-elect Trump's comments on this on his social media platform over the weekend. He said, in part, in any event, Syria's a mess, not our friend. United States should have nothing to do with it. It's not our fight. Let it play out. Do not get involved. From someone who knows, someone who's been there, your reaction to not only that, but what we should be doing and what our interests are in the coming months.
Well, I think the president-elect is right in many ways. Syria is not our fight. Our national security interests in Syria are not like those with, for example, the Far East and the rise of China, or what to do about Russia and Ukraine and the future of U.S.-NATO relations. Nothing like that important to the United States. We do have forces in Syria, in the eastern part that I mentioned, and their future must be decided, withdraw or keep. And what is the strategy to do that? I think that the Americans can watch the process of developments in Damascus. They can offer encouragement for an inclusive government, for a government that respects human rights, but we do not have a lot of leverage with the armed groups that are in control there, and we try to overplay our hand.
Interesting. And we haven't been engaged since you were there in 2012. Ambassador Ford, thank you for your thoughts today. We appreciate it very much. Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.